All right, welcome to episode number 60 of the Muscle Maturity Podcast. I am your host, John Hansen, with my co-host, Samir Bannout. And Samir, how are you feeling? We got a week out from the Olympia, and
Oh,
everything back to normal?
yeah. Well, somewhat, it's very unfortunate. Whenever you go to an event like this, John, you meet a lot of friends and many people, lots of fans, and you want to be courteous. You want to take photo with them. And, your friend love you so much, so they give you some presents. So
Mm-hmm.
I was fighting something. Anyhow, I'm doing okay now, thank God. But I wasn't for a couple of days. I was like, no fever, no sore throat, but a general weakness, like my body was fighting something. But I'm back
Yeah,
on track. Yeah, not 100% yet,
good.
but
Good. Okay.
yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I don't have as many. Yeah, I'm good. I don't have as many fans as you, so I didn't get swarmed by
Oh,
fans.
come on, John. John, you got a lot of fans, but sometimes I think in the places like that, the mask could help. I think I'm serious
Yeah,
because just about every Olympia, and some of my friends who were around me
yeah.
also felt kind of like that too. But it's nothing very serious though, so thank God.
Yeah, I used to work for Optimum Nutrition, and they would have their booth up all weekend at the Arnold. And whenever I worked that booth, I'd always get sick coming back the next week, every year, guaranteed.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't care if you have Hercules immune system, but sometimes you get some
Hmm.
strange bugs, bro. You can get some strange viruses, and the body can fight so much.
Yeah,
And time different, lack of sleep,
right.
all of those come to play, and then you end up like getting kicked a little bit. So,
Yeah, yeah. All
mm,
right. Well, they had a big show this last weekend, Samir, the Romanian Pro, and it was a really good show. The only big name
yeah.
from the Olympia that went in it was Samson Dauda, who was third at the Olympia. And I think people thought he would walk out and win it easily, but he had some really good competition from some
hmm
guys that weren't in the Olympia. They weren't allowed to compete in the Olympia, so it was a really exciting show. Here's
Yeah.
a video of Samson, and I think Samson lost some weight from the Olympia. He tried to get because everybody said he needed to be harder from the Olympia, so I think he uh, dropped some pounds going into this show a week later.
Yeah, I saw some photos,
All right, so
John.
here's
Yeah. Second place was the guy from Iran, Baruz, right?
Yeah, Baruz was in second, and he was not allowed at the Olympia because he's from Iran, so he couldn't get a visa over. So he was waiting for this show, and he did really well. He was in great condition. He got second, and then third was a new guy from Brazil. His name on Instagram is Horse MD, and this was his debut. He's never competed as a pro before, and he got third place. So he was very impressive. And then Nathan Diasha, who was also not allowed in the Olympia because he couldn't come over because of a visa, he was fourth. So really impressive top four.
Yeah, looking at the photo, very impressive. I mean, it's like Olympian material contestant. Honestly, I'm very
Yeah,
impressed.
for sure. Yeah. Would have been
Yeah,
interesting to see if those guys would have been allowed in the Olympia. Beirut would have been in it, and Nathan, and well, Horse MD wasn't qualified because this was his first pro show ever. But it'd be interesting if these guys are able to go into the Olympia. I mean, looking at these pictures here, it's funny because Samson just towered over Hadi and Derek at the Olympia, and now he's going against guys who are all his height. So he's not going
yeah,
against these
yeah.
shorter guys.
I
Big
noticed
difference. I
that,
mean, Samson
John.
doesn't look as powered. Yeah,
I'm very impressed with the top three. They all have beautiful body, and the guy from Brazil, he was
yeah,
really etched. He was sliced to the bone. I looked some of his
yeah.
photo, and I was like, "Wow, who is this guy?" So that's his first show, right? That's
First
his.
pro show. Yeah, he used to be in Classic, and now he's in Open.
Look at how
So I
shredded
heard
he
some
is.
people say that his waist used to be really small, and his waist got a little bigger now because he's in open. But he's
Yeah,
got great legs, incredible legs. He's got a really good V taper too.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm impressed with his quality, especially in the legs. His legs were shredded, calves, and look at even
Yeah.
his serratus intercostal. I mean, he looks dry.
Yep.
Great calves, good hamstring, even glutes. His overall look is balanced, so I'm impressed.
Yeah. It looks like he
Samson
could still use a little more size. Could still use a little
probably
more size
next.
in his upper body.
I would say
But
you're right. It could have been bigger,
he's got good V
but
taper though. I like his front double bicep. He's got a really good V taper.
that's really beautiful V taper right here. Um, Samson, for some reason, I don't know if he's not bigger than Olympia, but he looks slightly harder. No,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think he
think?
lost some weight. I'm not sure what the weight difference was, but I think he lost some weight, and he doesn't really look as massive and as overpowering as he was at the Olympia.
Yeah, I mean
But
his chest looks
still
more
great. I think
striated here. Oh, he's
yeah,
huge.
this was a pretty decisive win for him. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would have voted for him. Looking at his overall balance and size, like you said, the guy from Brazil is maybe his like first, you know, attempt at this pro show. He was good, but he doesn't have the mass of Samson on top. And also
No,
the Baruz, the guy from Iran, was very impressive. Taking second, very very impressive.
yeah,
And
take a look at him. I
yeah,
was looking forward to
but
seeing Beirut at the Olympia. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it in.
I noticed one thing about some of the video that I saw on Instagram, that these guys are focusing on glute so much, like flexing the glute. You know how many times we did that back in
Yeah,
the 80s? Nobody ever thought about flexing the glute. And
no,
come on,
never.
guys, all you have to shoot small part of your glute, you're okay. I mean, all of them have
Yeah,
ripped glutes. But look,
wow,
the glute
those
is
are
getting
shredded.
too big, Jean. That's too big. Samson have enough size in the
Yeah,
glute, but this is too big. You don't need to have glute this big. It's not necessary. Becoming
his glutes go
like the
halfway down his
girly,
leg
like,
too.
oh, he looks great, but I'm just saying,
Wow,
why put so much focus on
look
the
at his
glute?
look at his glutes from
Those
the
glutes
side.
were
That's crazy.
bigger than Ronnie. Remember, Ronnie used to have them way down to the
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
hamstring.
Well, they remind me of Ronnie's because they go halfway down his leg.
Yeah,
That's how Ronnie's.
I remember that. But look at his side tricep is great. It's great. I mean, he's just in this shot here is a little more ripped than Samson on
Yeah,
shoulders, and triceps. And the middle, look at in the middle, Baru's midsection is a little bit tighter, smaller.
yeah, it is. It
But
is.
again, Samson is a massive guy, overwhelming. If he get that onion skin, he'll be Mr. Olympia for sure.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think
It's
he needed a little bit,
another year of improvement. It's really good.
100%. I think in 1 year, if he focus, I keep saying thing like, again, I talk about Regan Grime, who came in 8 or 9 this year, right? What place?
Mm-hmm.
If he get
Ninth.
that quality skin, he came in 9th. So Regan, in my opinion, was quality, super duper quality, was better presentation. He's also front runner. Baruz, you need to forget about training his glutes. No more. Look. What did you do? What the hell are you doing? I mean, he's
Yeah,
in good shape. Very impressive from in that show. And so he's actually more ripped than Samson.
yeah, he is.
Look at see flexing glute. That's wrong. You can't. It's like me focusing on my tricep and forget about my bicep. I keep doing tricep shot, tricep shot, tricep shot. But what about do bicep shot in back?
What do you think he needs? What do you think he needs to work on?
First, he needs to lose about maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches from his glutes. He would be more proportioned. This is the biggest mistake most bodybuilders do, John. They just dwell on the area. Oh, I want to have the most ripped glute. You want to get him ripped, but you don't need him to get so big. I mean, we go back to our good old buddy Tom Platz. If Tom Platz's legs were slightly smaller, he would have been Mr. Olympia, in my opinion. I mean, he could have been Mr. Olympia at the day when he fought with Danny Padilla and Franco. But the thing is, he's making a mistake of constantly flexing his glute. He's doing glute poses more than those poses. He looks great though.
I think he needs more. He needs more quads and he needs more calves.
I saw
from the back when he.
I saw an early. Yeah, John, I agree. But earlier photo I seen of him, he has a tremendous balance. Okay, he does. But when you diet so hard, there's always chances of losing some lean tissue, and you know they do. Probably he's about 7-8 pounds of probably more loss of pure muscle. When you get to that condition, to get to shredded glute, you will sacrifice some muscle, in my opinion. So, but it's an impressive show, John. Really.
What about Nathan Diasha? He was in 4th place.
I think Jason needs to rest a little bit. He competed too many times. I mean, he competed 4 or 5 times almost this last. Yeah, so you cannot force the body over. How many show? 4 show so far?
He did at least 3 already. Well, this is his 4th.
3 or 4. Yeah, I think he needs to take a break, let his body heal, and come back. Oh, what do you think? I saw this 212. I want to ask your opinion, John, because I saw certain things. I figured I will ask you, what do you think of the top 2 were very, very impressive. So I want to ask you, Ahmed Ashkelani and the gentleman from what country who came in 2nd place? I saw just photo. I don't know the name. Look at that. I mean, Ahmed was in shape, but the other guy was very, very impressive. Yeah. What's his name again?
Oh, yeah.
So, Antonio, I don't know. I just saw the photo and I wasn't feeling that well. I didn't really go through reading too much, but I thought he gave Ahmed a very, very hard time. Seriously.
Christian Zigarella.
Christian?
Yeah, Christian Zigarella, I think.
What do you think of that comparison,
I think that
John?
much better. Yeah, Christian's much
honestly
better.
I'm impressed because I'm looking at the flow of the quad and the diamond calf in the middle.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. I don't know. I mean, the judges were there. Now we're looking at photo. From my perspective, this is easy call, or I mean, very, very close. Very, very close. I mean, I didn't see the posing routine. So maybe maybe Ahmed posed better. But the guy's very impressive. His skin is very thin and tight. Let me put my glasses on to see clearer. Very impressive. I mean, look at the chest right there, John. And the hamstring. Yeah. He's balanced overall. Ahmed looks massive and full. I don't know. It's very hard. I don't know. That's why I want to ask you, what do you think of that comparison?
Yeah, I would have had the 2nd place guy in first. He's got much better shape, smaller waist, and he's harder too. He's more ripped.
You know, I think most people like trying to fight the war with mass. I will always think about fighting the war with class. You know, you're right. I mean, that gentleman, what's that? His name is Chris again? What's his name? Chris, Christian. You said? Christian. I'm very impressed. Christian, very impressive because his overall is very good, you know, and Ahmed is huge and impressive. What happened to that lat muscle there, Jean, on the left? Yeah,
On the left.
yeah, yeah. Nothing on the right, but it looks like a pulled muscle or something. There's some swelling here.
Hmm.
What do you think is that, John?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Site injection,
Probably. One of the things I
oil.
like to say, some I don't think it's Synthol, but here's some of the problem with some of the new coaches. They think if you change your injection site and you take it in the area where your muscle needs it most, it will actually help you grow faster.
Hmm.
It's not like a Synthol trying to put in more volume. And from my perspective, now I don't know, I'm not sure, but definitely there's something going on in Ahmed Lat right there. And I think, in my opinion, it works against him, doesn't help him. And he doesn't need it. Do you think
Oh
he
yeah,
needs it, bro?
see it right
Beautiful.
there.
Ahmed got a lot of muscle. Look at the one on the right, the lat on the right looks better to me than the one on the left. It just doesn't flow. It's
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah, I can
creating,
totally see it. Yeah.
it kind of looks a little inflamed. I mean, now
Yeah.
we
It's
have
like
the
a
tanning stuff.
got
It's
a
very
lump in it.
hard to say, but I mean, John,
No,
we
it's got a lump
know
in it.
shoulders, glutes is where you inject your oil. Now, let's be honest here. We all took something for competition, but taking some injection sites are very wrong. You do not shoot in the lat. You don't need to do that
Right.
unless they run out of space. I mean, look at the glutes here on the upper glutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he was forced to inject in the lat, which is you got to be masterful, and you got to do it with someone who's very experienced. So you know when you inject quite often in that same spot, it leads to calluses too, John, and sometimes it causes cysts, and that get
Hmm.
inflamed and it ruin the look. Not to say Ahmed is massive; he's got a beautiful body, but I think that's affected him a little bit there. The second place guys was very impressive. So that again, nothing in a derogatory way. I haven't seen the pose routine of neither one, but I tell you what,
Well, they don't judge the posing anyway.
because this could have gone either way from my perspective, looking at photos. So maybe the second place had more separation in the upper thighs too. So okay, let me see. He's a big boy for a short
Yeah,
guy.
he's
He's
just
a big guy.
um, he's lost. I think this guy's lost his aesthetics over the years with all the
Yeah,
size he's putting on.
I'm not happy with the middle. The middle is a little
Right.
bit. Um. Anyway, it's just.
Calves are
I
weak
think
too.
everybody the new system of peaking, John. I disagree with honestly. If you look at my photo over the years, if you see an injection site once, you should tell me. Never. You don't even see it. It looks like I've never touched anything. But I did, but in the right places in moderation. So now everybody
Yeah.
sees the need to become super massive. And I mean Ahmed wants a competitive edge too. So and the new coaching system of more is better is wrong because from my perspective more is less. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Christian guy's just got better overall shape. I think his lines are cleaner. He's harder. You can see more striations. I think I would have went with him if I was a judge.
I
Look at
if
that.
if
Look at that
I
V. Look at that
looking
V taper. Look at his legs. How good his legs are. They're completely developed and striations in them. Great separation between the quads. That's a great look. That's a
John
great look for 212. I Some of the guys in
John we are
212 look a little blocky, look a little like massive and blocky, but this guy's got like a classic type of physique in the 212 division. He looks great.
well we're on the same page. Evidently, looking at the photo, from the photo I would go for that guy also Christian. But again, I didn't see the comparison, moving muscle and stuff. So I don't want to disagree with the judges always, but the photo told me a different story. Excuse me.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Good, good balance. The guys have a balanced body, and that's the reason why I won the Olympia, because I had the flow and I had the balance. Look at calves are incredible, diamond calves, enough size glutes, and I mean he's good.
Yeah, needs a better back, but he's got just really good overall shape.
His back could be better. You're right, but look at the waist, pretty
Looks good from the
small.
front though. I mean, he's got a great spread from the front when he does his front double.
Hmm.
Man, he's got really wide lats, and he's got small waist too.
You look at the lats, beautiful. Lats are good, but the back muscle,
Yeah,
you're right.
he
It
just needs
needed to be harder.
more
Yeah,
thick.
but this is
Yeah,
not
more
this
thickness.
is not on stage. This is probably off season right here. And
No, it's 2 hours. 2 hours ago it says
oh
before the
really?
pro show.
Mm.
It's in his hotel room.
I like his body. His
Yeah,
overall,
me too. I
you
never heard of him
always
before.
it's a total package. I think he has a good future. I think Ahmed, if he wants to compete
Yeah, me
against him
too.
next year, he should be more prepared, because I'm telling you, this guy is here to move forward. He's got a beautiful body.
Yeah, for sure.
Congratulations to Ahmed. I love Ahmed. I met him a couple times. Wonderful guy. But then again, same thing with Derek. We talked about Derek. People think, oh no, no. I love Derek. I predicted Derek to win, but you and I go by what we see here in front of us. And at the Olympia, we
Right.
were all there, and
Yeah.
so the judges have a different view, maybe. The video right here tells me the second place guy, Christian, is very, very impressive.
They also had a classic physique show at the Texas Pro. There was a Texas Pro last weekend too, and Urs won that. Urs was third at the Olympia, so he jumped in it, which was a good move for him, and he took first place. So he's got his win in the classic physique.
Very
I'm
good.
not sure if only the top two qualified for next year, like the Open men, but
Hmm.
Urs is definitely qualified now next year for the Olympia. If it was only the top two from the Olympia that
You
qualified, he's qualified now. That's great. I thought he looked great at the Olympia too.
Oh, he looks beautiful. I love his body and his presentation and his confidence. But
Yeah.
Urs, he needed to put on some more beef on his arm. Urs and I always exchange
Oh yeah.
messages, and we're friends. We're friends, and I wish he could be with me for 3, 4 months while he's putting on muscle. And I guarantee you, his arm would be a la Samir. If his arm's a little bit bigger, come on, his arm is costing him a lot, because if he have another inch or two on his arm, I would say he'll be like very dangerous, very dangerous. Because look at
Look at that
how
pose. Look at
deep this,
that there.
beautiful. But you notice, look at the arm.
Yeah.
The arm is just lagging behind. Great
Yeah.
abs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the face, the
Great abs, great
confidence. The
legs.
guy, very, very good bodybuilder, beautiful body. We just need to bring the more guns.
Yeah.
You agree?
Well, I think he was putting on some good size in the off season, and from what I heard this from a few different podcasts or websites or whatever. I heard that he was like when he dieted
He
down. I think
lost
he
it.
dieted maybe too long. Yeah, he lost too much of that size that he gained in the off season. So he's just going to have to learn how to keep that size next year because I know he kind of bulked up. He was pretty big in the off season, which is what he needs, and then he just needs to slowly come down from that and keep that size when he gets ready for the
Well,
show.
that's another mistake, John. Look, when I went to Germany, the German mentality is they tell you in German, Qualität, quality. So, but sometimes
Right.
when you diet so hard, the risk of losing lean mass is always there. So evidently, he
Yeah.
lost a lot of his mass. There should be a way where he can
Yeah.
protect the muscle that he built, and especially in the arm department. Maybe he shouldn't be training the arm as much. whatever it is, maybe he overtrained his arm. So sometimes, like I
Yeah,
said,
maybe.
more is less. Maybe if he trained his arm every 4 days, they probably would grow more than train him every 2 days or every 3 days. So you got to allow
Yeah.
recovery, and so he's learning his body. But you can tell, he's so passionate, and he's a beautiful bodybuilder, got a great future. But definitely, let's improve the arm. The rest is great.
Yeah, that's definitely his weak point. So he's got to just overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
This is
it's
what he
right
looked like.
there.
This is what he looked like at the Olympia.
Yeah, the arm is the. But I mean, you can see there's bicep, tricep, but they can grow a little bit more, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why Ramon.
I mean,
That's
it's been
why
great.
Ramon is taking him. I mean, Ramon's arm is his best body part. His forearm, bicep, tricep. He has the best arm in
Yeah,
that division, better than Bumstead.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
Bumstead, if Bumstead have the arms of uh, what's his name again, Ramon. Oh my God, that Bumstead would be like more deadly, you know. And so I'm shocked why in this division we got two guys with a beautiful overall symmetry, but they lack in the arm department. Now Ramon is perfect in the arms department, in forearms, and I honestly I think Ramon deserves a little bit more credit. He does.
Well, he got second place.
I mean, second
Second
place
place, though.
next to
That's pretty good.
it is. It is. I mean,
Best,
in some poses,
guy.
in
Yeah,
some poses, in some poses, he beat Chris, especially in the
yeah,
open
yeah.
arm.
I agree.
And then
Yeah,
what Bumstead, like I told you, I'll repeat again. Bumstead is a smart bodybuilder, very smart. His approach is more quality instead of just beef. So, and he know how to show what he has. He know how to use the weapon that he has. He hits his target in every pose. So the saying I was telling, he could aim and shoot. He knows what to do with that. A la Zayn, a la Makawi, a la Samir, a la Labrada. He's smart with that. And so I think once Ramon get the hang of that area, he's going to be a force to reckon with. He's incredible.
speaking of Bumstead aiming and shooting, did you see his wife is pregnant now?
Yeah, congratulations to him. I mean, beautiful team, handsome guy, Mr. Olympia
Yeah,
5 time. But I want him to be real Mr. Olympia now. I would want him to take a shot at it. I would. I mean, Jean, why? I mean, he's using the same gear. He have the same coach. Give it a shot, Chris. Go do your best. You're a masterful poser. I want Chris to remember that Frank Zane was a giant killer. Frank Zane beat the
hmm,
guys who were like outweighed him by 50 and 60 pounds, correct?
yep,
So I'm making it simple on Bumstead. Bumstead has the tiny waist, has the white shoulder. What is he missing? Really, he needs to approach that with no fear. He could still come out
yeah.
for sure in the winner's circle. I mean,
I've heard a few people say they think Bumstead might retire after this year. They think that he might not compete anymore.
he's young, but from my perspective, if he's healthy, he could compete. If his health in jeopardy, I wouldn't fuck with it, honestly. So he's
Yeah,
smart,
I mean
man. He knows what
he's got
he.
plenty of money. He won 5 titles. He's going to have a baby now, so who knows?
What's plenty of money, Jean? Come on. Once you have
I don't
$100 million,
know.
then that's plenty of money.
I heard he's making a lot of
Well,
money.
he deserves it because he works so hard, and he's a good spokesman.
Yeah.
Another thing, Bumstead is a very good
Oh yeah, he's
spokesman,
great.
and he's
He's
good
a
for
great
bodybuilding.
representative
And
for
I
the
mean,
sport.
he
Oh yeah,
is, he is,
100%.
no doubt. You know me, dude. I'm no take no bias. When I talk bodybuilding, I talk muscle to muscle, calf to calf, shoulder to shoulder,
Yeah,
proportion. And I'm saying it the truth. I'm telling the truth every time. But again, when it comes to marketing, Bumstead probably have the most marketing because of his personality. He's handsome, and he's in incredible condition every time. So that he
Yeah.
deserves every penny he's getting.
And he's
So
just a good person too. I mean, I love hearing his speeches every year when he wins and how insightful he is, how mature he is,
yeah,
and how he
no,
understands the important things in life.
yeah, I like
He's
him. I
very
met him once
modest.
briefly.
Great guy.
Yeah, I met him briefly backstage at the Olympia last year, not this year, the year before. This time I didn't see him backstage, and so I went in for like 5 minutes. I only got to see Hadi Chopin,
Yeah.
which I was very impressed. But when I met Bumstead, you could see he's mellow, he's good look. I actually met him in Urs at that day, and they're both really
Yeah.
good for the sport, and they have the
Oh
body
yeah,
that
they are.
actually liked by the masses. People want to see the
Yeah.
lesser freaky, not to say,
Yeah.
uh, listen, when you talk about Lunsford mass, but honestly, Lunsford, we predicted his win, and I think he's going to be more dangerous next year. I honestly believe so. But I don't think Lunsford need
Yeah,
to
he
worry
needs to.
about size, not to worry about size. Believe me, if he was a bit harder in the front, whatever caused him to hold
Hmm.
a bit of layer of fluid. But again,
Yeah.
if you ask me what physique I want to have for me, I'll take Derek's physique, really. Is
Yeah.
incredible. He's blessed. He's blessed. And also his wife is pregnant, isn't it? Isn't she?
Yeah, she's pregnant too. Right.
He's a great guy,
So
man. I
Derek
met him so
guest
many times
posed. He guest posed
in
last
New York.
weekend at the I think it was Eastern USA Championships. I think this was Steve Weinberger show.
Yes,
So it was one
yes.
week after the Olympia, and Derek guest posed, and he did a great job.
Very good job for guest posing. I mean, honestly, I kind of like his look like that. He could have looked this full at the Olympia, maybe drier a little bit, but still,
Hmm.
hey, he's Mr. Olympia. We predicted it, and look at that. Good glutes, hamstring, good diamond calves, great lats. Let's see. Look at that. Look at the traps in the middle.
Yeah, really
That's
good,
like,
incredible back.
yeah, like this is like a big Samir in the back.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah. No, really, his back is freaky. I want more striation in the chest, which is we saw him the
hmm
year before, and he had those striations, John. And I think like Dave Palumbo asked me, said, "Oh, Samir, his back is ripped. Why his front weren't is ripped?" I mean, from your perspective, from your competitive perspective, Jean, what do you think? What led to Derek not to be as hard this year from the front?
Well, I just think it's a genetic thing with the front and the back because even when he was competing in the 212, he had the same thing. You know, he was super shredded from the back. Even when he was flat and he was out of shape at the 212, he always had that back. He always had the shredded glutes in the back. But then when he turned around to the front, he was flat. But when he was in the 212, he had to lose like 20 pounds of muscle. So I think that's why he was so flat looking. But now I don't know. Now that he's bigger and he's still not hard from the front, I think it's just more of a genetic thing. So, but
I,
I thought he was actually a little bit softer this year than last year. I thought last year from the front, I thought he was a little bit better. So I just think he needs to figure that out. He needs to figure out how to come in harder. He needs, that the
I,
ab shot needs to improve. The most muscular needs to improve. I mean, those were his two weakest poses, I thought.
from my perspective, Jean, I don't. That's not related to genetic. Okay, I've seen Derek chest is most sliced in off season when he was training with Hani. I saw striation in the chest and a lot of size. Sometime in competition,
So he's
you get too
platinum.
excited. I saw his chest striated months before the Olympia, but I think certain people, and I was one of them, is at competition time, the excitement of the competition, the expectation the night before, and then you're looking at things. And I mean, Lee Haney and I talked about it. The more relaxed and calm you are, the drier, the less cortisol you have, and your nerve can actually mess up. Causes some of the intracellular fluid to go to the extracellular. You know what I'm saying? So, but he's perfect. Honestly, he's perfect. I don't fault him. That's
But-
such a minor. I
So do you
think
think it has?
Hadi. I think
Do you think it
Hadi
has to
could
do with the
correct
show
that.
being or the prejudging being so late?
I don't
Is that
know.
why he was holding water?
He's usually one of the calm bodybuilders. I wasn't. I was always like intense. He's more on the calm side, but I'm sure Hani will figure out exactly what's needed in electrolyte management, and he will be dry like a desert sand in the front. Hadi was really dry in the front, and this is why we said, "Oh my God!" When you walk out, the first impression, you look at the freakness and the shred in the front. And honestly, Hardy was damn shredded. His abs was etched to the bone in his chest. You know,
All right.
I mean, if you ask me who had better, let's say, middle or physique, having both of them at 100%, honestly, I would go Derek. If they're both 100%. Derek wasn't at 100% from the front. He was like maybe 70%. The truth must be told. And not to say I'm
Yeah.
happy for him. He made my prediction come true. I want, I thought he'd win, and I connect with Hadi Chopin. We exchange messages always. You know, I mean, what I feel it doesn't come out of not loving certain people. Both of them. I just really dig Derek a lot. I dig Hani a lot. Hadi, I mean, wonderful, wonderful. Both of them are wonderful human beings. And so the judges saw it this way. I congratulate Derek. I saw him at the banquet after the Olympia. You didn't come to the banquet, didn't you, John? After the
Yeah, I was
Olympia.
with you. Yeah, I was there.
At the Oh, you were at night? I didn't see you at night. You were sitting somewhere far away,
Yeah,
maybe.
I was standing with your. I was standing with your girlfriend in line.
I was
I don't
sitting
know where you were.
I was with Sean Corrida and Dion and his lovely wife Angelina. We were just sitting, hanging out, and I had a nice talk with Sean Corrida. I think Sean looks really, really muscular, freaky, but what's his name? Not Brayon. Wait, John. I'm terrible at names now. The winner in that class that beat Sean,
Yeah, yeah,
Keon. I just remember you beat me to it. Keon, really an impressive bodybuilder. I've always thought he's dangerous. Remember? You always
oh
went
yeah, he is. Great
Corrida, and I
striker.
went with Keon. So Keon made my assessment and my prediction come true because the guy's got a great body. You cannot ignore. Look at that physique. You see how
Yeah,
dry. Look at his thigh. You see how sharp. He got sharper and fuller.
yeah,
And so this is what I'm saying. When you're at 100% and you have that great all-around physique, you'll be unstoppable. I'm happy for him, by
yeah.
the way. Congratulations to Keon. Really, he deserved it.
Hey, let me ask you a question. You remember how in your day in the '80s they had 3 rounds of judging? They had the relaxed pose, and that was a whole round, and they would judge that round. So you guys would come out relaxed, and they would do comparisons, 3 guys at a
You
time,
mean you
and you
mean
would stand
symmetry
to the
round?
front, the side, huh?
You meant symmetry round,
What'd you say?
round one.
Yeah, the symmetry round. Yeah, the relaxed symmetry
Okay,
round. Yeah. So that was a whole
okay.
round, and then the judges would judge that round, and they would do comparisons, and they would pull guys up 3 at a time and go through the quarter turns and stuff. So then the next round was the mandatory poses, and they would do the
Yeah.
same thing. They would have 3 guys at a time, and and then they would score that round too. And then the
Mm-hmm.
third round, which was the posing round, every guy came out and they posed, and they would score that round too. So they had 3
Right.
rounds of judging, and they scored each round. So it makes sense because bodybuilding is supposed to be a combination of size and shape and proportion, symmetry, muscularity, or conditioning. What we call they used to call it definition, now they call it conditioning, and also
Yeah.
posing, right? So now I just saw a video by Tyler Manion, and I thought this was really cool because he was like breaking down the contest, and he was saying why uh, Derek beat Hadi. So
Mm-hmm.
he went through every pose, but he only
Yeah.
went through the 7 mandatory poses. And then he said, in his
Mm-hmm.
opinion, he said Derek won 5 out of 7 poses. So that's why he was the winner. But I was thinking about it after I saw this, and I was like, they don't consider symmetry anymore, and they don't consider posing anymore. It's almost like it's like scoring. It's like, okay, you have 7 points. How many points are you going to get? 7 mandatory poses, and then how many poses are you going to win? And that's the whole contest. And I don't know. I guess this is where the judging has gone now. I don't agree with it. I like the old way of judging. I like when they had 3 rounds of judging, and they had 1 round specifically for symmetry because the body looks different when you're not flexing it. The symmetry, I mean, the
Yeah.
muscle size looks different, and the definition looks different when you're not flexing it. So that's why I think you
Yeah.
need that symmetry round to look at the body and judge it, because that's how you can
Mm-hmm.
judge the aesthetics, the shape, the proportion, the symmetry. I mean, some guys have better symmetry than others. And I don't know, it seems like they just disregard all that now, and they're like, we can judge body, we don't need all that extra stuff. We can just judge it off of 7 mandatory poses. And I'll bring up something like Dorian, when Dorian tore his bicep. I remember people were saying, because he tore his bicep in 94. He won the Olympia
Yeah.
in 92 and 93 without a torn bicep. But then he won the Olympia in 94, 95, 96, and 97 with a torn bicep. And I remember there was a lot of people criticizing, like, how could we have a Mr. Olympia with a torn bicep? He doesn't have good symmetry. And Dorian would say, well, I only lose the front double bicep. He said, everybody beats me on that pose, but the other poses, I win. I win those men. So he was judging it like that too. He was just judging it as just the mandatory poses. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I was wondering what your opinion was. I mean, I think you should
Well,
judge symmetry. I think you should judge posing. And I think you should judge the mandatory poses. I think it all counts, not just 7 poses. Like they've whittled it
I
down to just 7 poses. That's it.
I hear you. I hear you, John. And I agree in most cases. I mean, Tyler, I saw the video and his assessment
Hmm.
was overall was good. Overall. Okay. But there are things that which is I agree with you. The overall flows of the body, the symmetry that actually I said Tyler, the symmetry that Lunsford have a very pretty symmetrical
Yeah.
body. And so,
Right.
Tyler would say, oh, okay, they hit this pose, and that's Hardy's pose, where he showed his striated chest right there. So we went with
Yeah.
Hardy. And so then we start talking
Right.
about the back, which is, we both agree, Hardy lost the back to Derek for sure. So,
Definitely.
but
Definitely.
I see they're not really putting so much emphasis on the overall symmetry, John, and that is from my.
Right.
I mean, hearing Tyler talking about the flow a couple of times, it was mentioned there. If you listen to it again,
For the poses.
so
Yeah. For the poses.
yeah. But again, I don't think. I honestly think this show, if you want to judge symmetry, it's like it would be very tough. I mean, you got judges who focus on overall symmetry, and some judges only focus on size and detail. So something have changed over the years, John. Something have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I was winning on my balance and symmetry. Although some judges
Right.
were obviously, they cheated me one time on my symmetry. They gave
Yeah, that
me
one
ninth
guy. Yeah.
place on symmetry. Yeah, but like you said, they take the high and low. But there's another judge who recently admit that he should have voted for me, and he didn't really. He didn't sleep good thinking about it so many nights. He thought I really felt I cheated Samir. I mean, come on.
Right.
For me, like I said, if my own son on stage, and I swear on the soul of my father, I will not vote for my son if he was on stage. If he doesn't like it, big deal. Remember, Jean, I told you, you and I have calluses here on our hand. We all work hard. But I'm going outside the main topic you're saying here. Symmetry should always come to consideration. Hardness should
Right.
always come to consideration. Presentation, because the round three, back in the days, it was like the pose down, right?
Right.
Well, after you do the mandatory poses, and then they score you on pose down too back then,
Well,
remember?
let me ask
So
this question. Do you think you need 3 rounds of judging in order to pick the best physique? Or do you think you can pick the best physique just by looking at 7 poses?
all you need to put guys that heavily experienced, that like you and I, like Platts, like Zane, people that worked hard. I don't want to see judges that never lifted weight. I don't want to. I mean, look, we have coaches in the NBA, they're former champion. You need to have heavily experienced judges, with all due respect. Now, when you go to Weinberger's been in the sport since day one. He's been there all along for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And I have some
30
exchange with
30-something years.
Steve. I would love to have Steve on our podcast and take his up that. He's been there. Look, Jim Manion himself is a bodybuilder, okay? Jim
Right.
Manion been there, done that from the early 80s. I became friends with Jim Manion 1979. That's when I met Jimmy.
Yeah.
We became buddy ever since. You know what? What I like about Jimmy, he doesn't care if Samir was Mr. Olympia and the next day he competed and was a little bit off. He would give me my result accordingly. This is what I respect about Manion. We need to have more qualified judges, John. I tell you, that is very important. I mean, some of the judges now, they teach them, like Tyler's doing, is like they have a special rule and regulation or whatever, a special thing that they're looking for. But I'm with you. I would go with the old way of judging. I like it more, and I agree with you on that. The symmetry
Right.
round, the mandatory, and the pose down, and the routine, all of those should be taken into consideration. So
Right.
I am
I
an
agree.
old school. I'm an old school still.
I think they
I mean,
should be. I think it should be
Jermaine
3
is an
separate
old
rounds
school.
like it used to be, and I think all those scores, all those rounds should count.
I agree, 100%. And again,
Like,
people heard our perspective last time, our recap, and it's never, ever will be done in a derogatory way. I love the sport. You love the sport, John. We're passionate. We're doing our job. We never, somebody claimed that I put down the IFBB and I agree with some of the bullshit. Never. I have never said anything negative. I congratulate the IFBB, the NPC Pro League, and I congratulate everybody about the job that was well done. You and I were playing with Dave Palumbo when we said, I'm pissed. I wasn't pissed. We're like playing, right? Anyway,
yeah,
but
I'm not talking about the results. I'm just talking about the way they judge. I mean, it just seems it's all whittled down now to 7 mandatory poses. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the judges can see who the best guy is just from looking at those 7 men. Maybe they don't need to do the symmetry round. But you know what?
no.
I saw another interview. I saw another interview with Dennis James, and it was at the Olympia. He did this like round table. He had, Dennis James had
Yeah,
his podcast. He had Dorian on. He had
yeah,
Chris Cormier. He had Milos on there, and he had John Natashak. And John is now a judge for the IFBB. And they were asking John, and John said the posing doesn't count anymore. So the posing is like they don't judge it. I think they judge it maybe at the Arnold, but in general, like the judges don't look at posing anymore, which I think
That's
is
wrong.
completely off. I think that's
One
completely
of,
wrong. I think
Look,
I think I
John,
think posing should definitely be judged.
John, I'm 100%, 1000% with you. Our sport is a performing art. It's a
Right,
performing
right,
art.
right,
And if you don't show your performance, you want to go there acting like 900-pound gorilla. That's not bodybuilding to me.
right, right,
And I'm
right.
sure Jimmy Manion is not behind this. I know Jimmy Manion would support what we're saying here. I know him long enough because
Right.
he's been there, done
I'll
that
give you an
himself. So,
example. I'll give you an example. Let's go to the 1982 Olympia, which you were in London. Okay, McAway
yeah,
and Bertil Fox were in that contest, right?
yeah.
So McAway comes out. McAway's 5'2", 150, 160 pounds. He's got a good physique, and he comes out and he poses so artistically. He's hiding his weak points. He's showing off his strong points. The whole idea of posing is you're supposed to creatively and artistically display your physique. That's the whole art. That's the whole art part of bodybuilding, right? So if you don't do that, then you're not creatively and artistically displaying your physique. So McAway comes out, he does like, a 10 out of 10 with his posing. He's incredible. He's flowing. I mean, you could have the average person off the street watch that and be like, wow, that was unbelievable. That was amazing, Now you got Bertil Fox. Bertil Fox comes out. He hits like a double bicep. He turns around to the side. He hits a side chest. He stumbles a little bit, and then he turns around, does a rear double bicep. Turns around, hits a crab. I mean, no finesse, no flow, no creativity. He's not artistically demonstrating his physique. I mean, because we all do the work in the gym. We all build our bodies. We go through the dieting. We build this work of art. When we get to the stage, we have to display this work of art. So McAway knows how to display that work of art. Bertil Fox comes up and he's stumbling and he's hitting. I mean, Bertil Fox has got an unbelievable physique, but he doesn't display his physique creatively, right? He's not artistically expressing what he has. So if you're judging this, you have to say, I'm definitely placing McAway up here and I'm putting Bertil Fox down here, because if you're supposed to creatively and artistically display your physique, McAway's doing an unbelievable job, so he has to get a higher score. And Bertil Fox is not, so he's got to get a lower score. So that's why I think that should be scored, and they should judge that, And if you decide, if you're a bodybuilder and you're in the Olympia and you decide to do a shitty job and you don't practice your posing and you pick shitty music, okay, but we're gonna score you down in that round. Maybe not in the mandatory poses. You're gonna score high in the mandatory poses because Bertil Fox has got a huge physique. He's got huge muscle size. He's got definition. He's gonna score high in that round. But in the posing round, he's gonna score low. And I think all that should be added up. The symmetry should be added up. The muscularity should be added up, and then the posing should be added up. And then you get a final score, and then that better translates into what kind of total bodybuilder you are. Do you have the symmetry? Do you have the size? Do you have the definition? And can you pose? And all that should be added up, and that should be your final score. And not just 7 poses. It'd be way more than 7 poses.
1000%, John. I mean, look at in gymnastic. I mean, they give them a routine, and sometimes, some of the girls or guys, they win because they have better routine, overall routine. They make different moves and they show more excellency in their routine. And another example, you have a jet fighter, you're going to war. You need to go hit your target. You're not just flying. You need to be able to control your airplane and hit your target. So this is a performance art, John, no doubt about it,
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, if they don't do that, I think the sport eventually will suffer.
It will.
They need to keep it. They need to keep the artistic part of the game. If you built a beautiful body, you want to show a Greek god presentation
Yeah.
and show what you have developed, for God's sake.
Right.
I mean, we need to really discuss, I mean, Jim Manion would easily agree on something like that. I'm telling you, once you are a bodybuilder and you train for 10 years or more, and then you appreciate the art of bodybuilding, it's a performing art. If that's the case, from what you're saying, Frank Zane would have won no show, because Frank Zane showed what he had was his beautiful, elegant body. And then Dennis Tenorino and everybody else would have beat Frank Zane and Mensur and Robbie. We're not going to go just for mass and quality. You got to show. Labrada was a runner up at the Olympia, and he was only 180 pound bodybuilder. Okay,
Right.
his son is what, 260 on stage, 265. But does that mean Hunter is better than Lee? I wouldn't say that, because Lee performed and showed more elegant art. And if Hunter will do that, and the judges should recognize that, it's, you can't let it be the jungle.
I'll go even farther, Samir, and say that if posing doesn't count, it's almost like a different sport. It's not bodybuilding anymore.
Then why posing at all? Then don't pose at all. And don't pose at all. Just go front, side, and back, and go home. You got to show the elegance.
Go home, right? Don't even do the posing routine.
So that's something the MPC and the IBB Pro League should look at again and take that into consideration, because we really need to improve the sport. And this is actually part of marketing. It's good for the sport. When you see an art poser that posing with excellency and elegant, instead of like showing the 900-pound gorilla. I don't want to see the 900-pound gorilla acting like a robot. I want to see elegant. I want to see the art of bodybuilding.
It's a part. Yeah. It's such an integral part of the sport. It's like in basketball, if they said, "Hey, you don't have to dribble the ball anymore. Just get the ball down to the other end of the court and get it in the basket. You could pass it. You could run with it. Like a football. It doesn't matter. Just get it in the basket. That's the whole sport. You don't have to dribble anymore.
You can double dribble too, and you can do anything. Just put it.
You can just run.
I mean,
if they did that, people would be like, if they did that, people would be like, well, that's not basketball, right? If you're not dribbling the ball, then it's not basketball. You can call it another sport, but it's not basketball. And that's how I feel about bodybuilding. If posing doesn't count, then that's not bodybuilding. Posing is in bodybuilding. It's an integral part of bodybuilding. It's the heart and soul of bodybuilding. So if you don't,
thank you so much.
Posing doesn't even look. You don't even look at it. You don't even count it. Dude, I mean, that's not bodybuilding.
That hurts. That hurts badly. How many times did Arnold win in his presentation? You still look at Arnold's routine and you go, wow. You look at Zane's routine, wow. And so you want to see more elegance. I mean, for God's sake, if Crizzo is able to pose and show that artistic flow, that body can look way better, and that could push him to the winner's circle like that. And by not letting, don't accept the posing into giving a score on posing, it's a wrong thing to do. Really wrong.
Absolutely.
So I would love to talk to Tyler and Jimmy. Go ahead.
You know who was a great poser at the Olympia weekend was Bumstead. Great posing.
Well, I think in that, from my perspective, they are also, Bumstead is winning because of that. So you can't do it at some point and some other point. I honestly think Bumstead is winning because his performance is excellent, and he's showing the idea of saying, like a jet fighter, he's hitting his target, and he's not. Welcome to the jungle.
When Bumstead does his routines, I can tell he put thought into it. He picked the music. He poses to the music. The music means something. He's doing his posing in a deliberate fashion. He's showing his physique artistically and creatively, and that's what you're supposed to do as a poser, as a bodybuilder. That's part of your job. The way I look at it, Samir, is like this. It's like bodybuilding is the athlete is in the gym. That's the training, the diet, the nutrition, all that stuff. That's the athlete bodybuilder, right? When you get to the competition, you don't train, you don't diet, you don't do cardio on stage. All you do is pose. You're posing your finished physique. If you don't know how to pose, you're not a real bodybuilder. You're not a complete bodybuilder. You're half a bodybuilder. You did the athletic part. Okay, good for you. You did that part. That's half of it. The other half is posing. If you get up on stage and you don't know how to express what you built, if you don't know how to creatively and artistically express that to the judges, you're not a real bodybuilder.
I mean, look,
you're a half
you
a
see,
bodybuilder.
See how Bumstead flows. Look at the smile, the confidence, the tiny ways. You see, he's trying. I mean, look at that. You see, he is doing a good job.
This is just his mandatory poses. But when he did his posing routine, he did a great job.
So how do you want to show the muscle you develop and not taking posing into consideration? Come on, guys. Right. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Who is ruining bodybuilding? I want to know who's behind that clause or rule that judging shouldn't be counted. I'm sorry. Whomever presented that, put it on the table, should not be approved at all.
I think it should be judged. It should be scored. Absolutely.
Posing is a must in bodybuilding. Is a must. It's the top priority, in fact. Taking it away and allowing the monkey business and the bad presentation is a big no-no. I'm with you, John, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Look, you see, he's doing, see that move, the transition? Look at that. Right. Very good.
Look how he moves his legs when he after
and
he
look,
does
see
this
how
he's
flattened his left foot. You see how he flattened the foot? And he's able to show, he should flatten it here though, but he's very good. I mean, come on, look at that. He's not walking through it.
We can't hear the music.
His transition.
We can't hear the music, but the posing, it was like choreographed to the music too, which made it even better, you know?
And look at the confidence, the personality, look at the smile, the sure of himself. You know, I think Ramon is not doing that. And he's taking his time. He's taking his time. Evidently, the judges can see that Chris Bumstead is posing more masterful and is really giving him more edge.
Yeah, and I think if this was judged, Bumstead would get first place.
I hope we can have Mr. President Manion on board and ask him some of these questions, see what he say. I really think we need to go back in some part to the old school way of presentation. We got to do that. We're not going to allow. We're not going to allow the wrong thing to be. You know, that's why Bumstead is actually on board of what we are talking about here. Presentation. That's why it's also popular.
Absolutely. And if you showed his routine, I mean, his fans love this because if you showed his routine to the average person who didn't know anything about bodybuilding, they would think that's impressive. They would think that's artistic. It's creative.
And look at that. Look at that. Look at he left the stage like that. And he did a good job. He did a good job. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I'll tell you what. I love Ramon's body. I love Ramon's body, but Ramon have to find way to have that superior presentation. Otherwise, Bumstead, which I think Bumstead's not going to compete in it next year, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I was just wondering. Hopefully,
hopefully he'll be healthy and enter the Olympia. And if not, I wish him the best. He's great, and really, you can't take anything away from him. He's wonderful. So,
All right, Samir.
Hopefully,
Well,
we'll make some
we
adjustment.
we
Hopefully,
got our opinion out, so hopefully people will hear us. But this weekend we got the Prague Pro, I think it's called EVLS Prague Pro. So I believe Samson is doing that as well, and Crizzo is going to be doing it also. So it should be. But
that's interesting.
Beirut will not be doing it because I guess he can't get the visa
Why?
over there. But
Are
I
you
think
kidding me?
Horse
Oh
MD
my!
will be there as well. Yeah,
Samson and let's see who else. Roberto,
I think Horse
Anton,
MD is going to
Nathan.
be there. Nathan
Yeah.
Diash is going to be there,
Why Nathan is
and
competing too much? It's bad.
yeah, and
Hopefully,
Crizzo.
he'll
Crizzo will
stay
be the other
healthy.
guy.
I think Crizzo. I saw some video again of Crizzo. My God, if he competed like he does in the off season, he would look more impressive. He came in flat last show. I
Yeah,
thought he was a little flat. Yeah.
yeah, he was for
Anyhow,
sure. So we'll see if he improves this week.
yeah,
All
he
right,
needs to
Samir. So
definitely
we
work on
will
posing.
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week
Mm,
on the show.
sounds good. Sounds good, John. Good chatting with you again. And wish
Yeah.
everyone the very best. May the best man win always. And
Yeah.
before we
All right.
go, we want you to keep it old school, guys. The
All right.
best
Keep it old
school.
school. All right, Samir. I'll see you next week.
Bye.